the life that you have, the seeds that you've planted? Is that what you're yielding? If not, we have to check those seeds. Did we plant what we intended? Or in going through the motions, that things just start to spring up? Be intentional. Every seed is designed to produce a particular plant, right? You can't plant lemons and think you're going to grow watermelon. Won't happen. So if your desire is to have watermelon, you have to be very intentional about planting that particular seed. So if you look at your life as a harvest, as a garden, what's growing in that garden? Have you taken the time to remove the weeds? Have you taken the time to make sure that the soil is fertile? Have you planted the particular seeds that you really want to see grow? Because in that, there's a lot of control, there's a lot of power, there's actions that you can take, preparing your life to nurture and grow the things that you really would like to have. Have you made those decisions? Or do you get up every day, go through the same routine, you just get whatever this life throws you, you make the best out of that, and then you do it all over again tomorrow? I think that's how most of us live. And it's because we're not awake, we're not intentional. Even when things are not going our way, we can lock in and assess what's going on and make some good decisions in that time. Maybe it shortens the length of time that we're in that difficult place. Maybe we find a little bit of joy and understand the gift that we can learn from that experience. Intentionality focuses your attention and all of your resources into what's going on around you so that you make good decisions that will in the future yield a crop. I'm asking you to be intentional now. Pay attention to the seeds that you're scattering now so that you don't have a surprise crop. You know what's growing, right? And I just did some work in my garden over the weekend. So it's fresh of mind. Everything's about the seeds in the garden and companion crops, what things grow well together, what's going to feed the soil, what things, because of what they're taking out of the soil, will kill the plants right next to them. A lot of looking into that kind of stuff over the weekend. So you'll forgive me if those analogies keep coming up. They're top of mind right now. But I really encourage you to look at your life as a garden, see what you've grown, and where there's weeds, get rid of them. It's always a good time to prune. When's the best time to prune? Today. Whenever the thought crosses your mind and you see the opportunity to remove the weeds out of your life, maybe it's a weed of negative thinking. Maybe it's a weed of bad habits. It could be weeds of poor relationships, poor communication style, right? There's so many weeds that crop up. And because we get so accustomed to seeing them and experiencing them, we don't even notice them anymore. They just become a part of the landscape. I want you to be more intentional about what's growing in your landscape and remove the things that do not serve you. Quite a few comments have come in. Hey, Michael, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Kim. Dr. Marcia says, thriving rather than surviving. Absolutely. And there's some choices in that. We can absolutely survive what comes our way, but it's our mindset and what we're willing to do differently and how we're willing to show up in any situation. That's the difference between mere survival and actually thriving through. I really believe that all the things that I experienced younger in life and the fact that I came through those things still with a smile, not just on my face, but in my heart, still a kind person, still caring about people. That's why I love to show up and have the conversations that we have, because I want somebody in their darkest day to look at me and see, and you guys, by the comments that you make and go, okay, just because it's dark doesn't mean it's always going to be dark. I can get through this. And on the other side, I can be better than when I went in. I can not just survive, but I can thrive through this situation and come out stronger, better, more resilient than ever. It doesn't have to leave a stench that follows me for the rest of my life. But those things in the past, They've rotted. And we just keep dragging them with us, dragging them with us. And that stench will follow you until you've decided that you're done with it. You don't want that around you anymore. You don't want to smell it. You don't want to see it. You don't want to feel it. And you decide, not for the person that harmed you, not because you think the situation was okay, but because you deserve to live a life free of that trauma. You forgive and you let go and you move forward. You take the lessons from that situation and the rest of it you leave behind so that it doesn't continue to mar your present. What happened in the past, the only thing that it's good for is the lesson. The rest of it, leave it behind and walk proudly, headstrong, self confident into your future, wiser because you did thrive through that situation. Kim says, focus in. Alexa says, good morning. Hello, hello, everybody. We are going to jump into the quote all about Bray. Hello, 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 Bray. Thank you for joining us also. And let me pull the quote up for you guys and we will jump right in. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. What are you intentional about? Where is your focus when you start to experience change? So, this particular quote is really appropriate for this week because our theme for this week is transitions. I mentioned to you guys yesterday that each week we'll have a theme, and whatever that theme is, all the content for that week, be it the morning show, the newsletter, post, whatever it is that we're talking, however I'm showing up in the different spaces, everything will be around that particular theme. And the theme for this week is transitions. It's graduation season. We talked about that quite a bit. So families are transitioning as their children or maybe even the parents are moving from being a student into becoming a professional in what they've been studying. Their home life is changing because maybe they're empty nesters now because the kids are moving on. Those are transitions. Lots of, in the US anyway, lots of transitions in the workforce. Fewer and fewer jobs are available to us, and people are retiring, people are losing jobs. There's all sorts of transitions that are going on. And when we are going through transitions, our mindset is so important. And this particular quote is just telling us, it's from Socrates, as to where we should be focusing as we move through those transitions. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Sometimes we hold on so tight to what was that we miss the opportunity to experience what is. And what's happening right now is where life is taking place. That is what is real, is what is going on right now. And so being focused and being open and looking at ways to build the new instead of always looking behind us and bemoaning the past and wanting to keep things from changing, it's not going to happen. Life is changing, things are happening all the time. Where you are and how you show up in that change has a huge impact on how your life is going to unfold. So, Denise, I know you are on a tight schedule, so I'm going to give it over to you after. Let's see. Conchita says, wonderful Wednesday on this wonderful Wednesday evening on this. Wonderful evening to everyone on this amazing day. Same to you, Conchita. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So with that, Denise, while you still have a little time with us, we would love to hear what you're going to bring with us to us all the way from Grenada.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here. So happy to see y'all. You look so beautiful this morning in your pink.
Thank you.
I am really blessed by that analogy this morning. You know, I love to be a gardener. I'm like a pretend gardener, I call it, because anywhere I go, I'm going to plant something. So if I have a small space, I'm going to plant some herbs. If I have a larger, maybe porch space, I'll plant some tomatoes because you can grow them in small spaces. This is the first time in a long time. I haven't really gardened in about 9 months to a year because of the travel schedule, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you brought that up. And I had this situation that made me think about something that my pastor used to say. He used to say, y'all need to stop running to God every time things just go bad. Because when things is good, when your money is right, when you can pay your rent without trouble, you're not like, oh, Lord, help me, help me. You're only like, oh, Lord, help me when things are going bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think about it because I'm having this great lit up space right now. Last year at this time, I was struggling. I had lost my brother. And right now, I was looking back at that and I said, I'm in this really light-hearted kind of a place. I feel good and I'm thankful. And I was telling God, I'm thankful. And the very next morning, somebody said something to me, and it didn't need to be said the way it was said. It was really in a negative tone. We were on opposite sides of a decision. You know how you're not in agreement and you're trying to make a decision. And it was
Mm-hmm.
really nasty. And a small, very small part of me was like, well, that was nasty. But the bigger part of me, the part that has grown from the seeds of being in this around you, a part of this team, from having my mindset be adjusted, from constantly thinking positive. One of my favorite songs is The Goodness of God by CeCe Winans. I put that on when I got home yesterday because this happened yesterday morning. And I just sat and I was like, things are so good and I've been so blessed. And I need you now to help me with the response because we can respond quickly. I said, can I get back to you? In that moment, I just said, can I get back to you? And I let go of the offense. I let go of the tone. And I thought about this is the situation where what's the best solution for the entire team? I was able to just go almost immediately. And I'm so proud of that. It's so much growth for me personally because there was another part of me. When you met me, Cassandra, I used to say something that I no longer say because you said, even if you keep saying that to yourself, you're going to keep being that person, even if I didn't say it out loud. So I had to train myself from your voice to talk to myself and give myself a little bit more grace, talk to myself in a better way, talk to myself the way I talk to other people. I really
Mm-hmm.
love on people and I actually just love people. That's kind of one of my things. I love people. I love to meet people. I love to talk to people. I used to wander off as a kid, I told you, and get lost all the time. And my mother said I've been like that my whole life. Security would bring me back to her at the mall. So I've always been a lover of people. If I could give myself that much grace, if I can give myself that much patience and that much love, and I finally got there. So one of the things I stopped saying to myself is, I'm rough around the edges. When you met me, I was saying that all the time. I was like, listen, y'all, I'm a little rough around the edges. I'm going to be the one that's kind of out of line here and blah, blah, blah. Well, if I keep telling myself that, when am I ever going to smooth out my communication? When am I ever going to feel like I said the right thing in the moment or I didn't say anything when I was supposed to be quiet? And what I found out yesterday was that was a moment I was supposed to be quiet. The old Denise would have been like, who's she talking to like that? I don't think she know who I am. There, there's there's a tone in that I no longer want. I don't want to be that person that actually could intimidate somebody and be like, "Who you talking to?" And then the person
Mm-hmm.
literally immediately adjusts their tone because I'm looking at them and I'm talking to them a certain way. Like we're not gonna have this conversation. That's not the me I want to be. And to be able to go out of that yesterday and say, "Can I get back to you?" And she said, "Oh, sure." And I said it real smooth and real just kind of soft because I didn't want to match her energy of coming in hot and to come back and put on that song and know that I needed a moment for my maker to deal with me and help me with a better response. And then I went back with a response. And I want to share with you what the response was because later I was like, thank you, Jesus. Like I was so happy. I was so happy with it. And what I said was, I got in the car because I'm sorry, it's the day before the question came up. And then I got in the car with the person yesterday and I said, how are you? Are you okay? Because the situation happened that neither of us can control. I said, how are you? Are you okay? What can I do to help? How can I help with this situation? That's it. I didn't have a response to the thing that was kind of offensive. I'm
Mm-hmm.
here to help. How can I help? Are you okay? And what can I do to improve the situation? And she looked at me and she was like, wow, thank you. Okay, okay. And all we did was move forward in a solution. So when I came back yesterday, I said, thank you. That's the growth. That's the mindset. That's the leaning on. I didn't need to be talking to another human because I knew what would come out if I called somebody and said, guess what this girl said to me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It would have been that human stuff that we do, and none of us can kind of help it if we choose to go that way. We're just being human. It's not to fault us. Instead, I didn't talk to nobody until after I had that conversation with my maker. I said, you know how I'm wired. You know who I am. I need you. I can't just need him in the bad times when, maybe you ain't got enough money, or you're facing a medical thing and you're going to the Lord saying, oh, Lord, please heal me. No, no, right now, I need you. Things are really good. You've really blessed me. I'm sitting in a beautiful place. I'm doing exactly what I love to do. I need your help. Just deal with me at the core. So I appreciate that seeds have been planted enough that I have woken up so much. This is still my favorite day of the week, Wake Up Wednesday.
Yay.
I've woken up so much to a degree. I've grown so much in this last, I'd say, I'll give it about 9 months, that I knew I was triggered, and I was mature enough in that moment to say, girl, just stand down, just ask for some time. And I'm blessed for it. I'm blessed because of it. I'm so grateful for it. I always thank you personally, and it really is a personal thank you, because there are times all the way up until a couple of months ago when I told you I hear your voice in my
Mm-hmm.
head that's checking that inner voice, but this time I heard my own voice. Girl,
Yay.
you need to
Awesome.
just be quiet and go think about this one. In that moment, I was like, you better be quiet. Like, I was checking myself, but in a positive way. I was warning myself instead of in my head, warning her, like, who you talking to? That's the old Denise.
Right.
Instead, it's like, won't you take a moment? You better take a moment. Because I would be beating up on myself if I went any other way. By the end of the night, I'm always checking myself, like, you could have did better. And this time I'm like, you did good. Good for you. Good for you. Like a little pat on the back, feeling very humble and just proud of that moment. So I love that you're talking about gardening and the seed. I'm reaping the benefit of planting those seeds of patience with myself. And I want to say one other thing: joining your
Mhm.
group, your SOAR group, the collective, joining that
Mhm.
collective, even though I haven't been able to like show up, I'll be watching in the background. Like when we're driving, I got like 3 minutes and I'll be scrolling, looking at posts. I'll be looking at stuff. Just knowing that I'm a part of a collective, that I'm investing my time, my effort, my resources into a collective, that even in a moment of just scrolling past a positive post, or I like to see what Conchita is doing. She got an event coming up, or other members, it blesses me and it holds me to a standard that I want to hold myself to for the rest of my life, and just keep raising up to that standard, that level. Thank you guys for listening. I was a little long-winded this morning.
No, that was perfect. That was perfect. And thank you so much for sharing that. As you were talking about how you interacted with that person after you had your time with your creator, remember we talked about being not doing what the world says, because the world says I'm gonna match your energy. If you want to know how you showing up for me, just watch how I show up for you. I'm gonna match your energy. You come in hot, I'm gonna come in at least that hot, if not hotter. And that's not what we're called to do. We are not energy matchers, we're energy setters. And that's what you did in that moment. You changed the entire atmosphere by your response. So instead of meeting that person where they were in that moment and matching light for light, or inciting, even more frustration in that situation, you were mature and wise and emotionally intelligent enough to say, this is a place to take some space, to be quiet, to get connected, and to come back and change this atmosphere. And that's what you even in your response, you could hear that other person thinking, whoa, that's not what I was expecting. They got so much more in that moment than what they were able to give. And that's how we all learn. If we just match what's happening around us, we're just going to have more of what's happening around us. But we can be intentional in all of our ways, in how we think, in how we respond, and how we move. And that is how the world gets better, not just for us, but for those around us. that makes a difference. Even if you don't see, when you drop that pebble, you may not see how far that ripple goes, but you created a ripple and you modeled a behavior that you don't know how impactful that may have been to the other person. So thank you so much for that transparency and for sharing that story, because it's so on point with exactly what we're talking about today. And Dr. Marcia says, I love that song, and that we must cheer ourselves on. Knowing when to speak and when to be diligent is truly a superpower. Glad you were able to harness that side of your superpower. Good morning, Sonia. We see you there. Denise, love it, is what Kim says. You go, girl. I hear you. It's hard, but worth it, but certainly hard. Hello, Kelly. Kelly says, good morning. I've been waiting to catch you. I'm glad you caught us today. Kim said, let's soar, baby. And continue to say, great example, Denise, of applying a spiritual practice. I will watch my ways and keep my tongue from sin. I will keep my mouth with a bridle while the wicked is before me. Psalms 39:1. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Conchita. Brian, you have come on just in time because I am starting to feel a little ugh. So if I'm gonna mute and go off camera for a minute and see if a little water will help me. Feeling a little sick to my tummy. So if you want to go ahead and jump in and share your thoughts on today's topic, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Bring it right.
Maybe you can
I
get a
jumped
little bit
off.
closer to your mic or something. You're a little faint.
That better? Any
Yes.
better?
Yes.
So I jumped off. Tech was checking, and I didn't see my phone had disconnected. I went to the bed spot. But I always know Denise has got something, a good story, something that she's going to share that's going to help us to help move into the week with more confidence. Because it's a story that we can all relate to. She's pretty good about this. So hopefully I'll be able to get an opportunity after this meeting to watch the replay. One thing that came to mind though, before I jumped off was positivity, right? So you were talking about making a transition. We've been talking about transition all week. And when I think about transition, I really think about transitioning not just from the mindset that I have now to the next mindset that I want, but being more specific about what that mindset looks like. I was talking with my uncle yesterday morning, and the discussion came up about uh, staying active and how you have to stay positive in order to be intentional enough to get up every day, faced with the same obstacle, right? Even if it's something different, it's still an obstacle. You still gonna face the obstacle every day. So you have to have that positive intention, right? In order to do that thing, to keep your body going, so that your mind can stay positive, right? Because if your mind is filled with negativity, then it won't let that positive spirit, right? So when I think about transition, I'm not just thinking about transitioning from good to better, but the different steps in that transition, right? And when I say steps, the different assets in that transition, right? It's not just what you want to happen. It's everything that you need to do to get there, right? There's a process, mind, body, and spirit. One is not going to work without the other. Mental positivity just doesn't stay there, right? It turns into healthy physical person. It turns into your mind so that your mind thinks. It transitions from negative to positive. Practice positive and I promise you, things will be different. Everything that you see, you won't see it as an unsurmountable obstacle. You will see it as part of the journey. Even when you can't come up with a solution, you'll see that transition and you'll have more courage or confidence. Courage for the things you don't understand, and the confidence to keep going, even if in times when it's bad. Make that transition from negative to positive. That's what I took away from this.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much for sharing that. I had to get a little something in my system. I feel a little bit better, but we are definitely gonna push through and wrap up today because I'm not feeling very well. I see my sister Tiffany. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Dr. Marcia says change takes us from the past. I'm going to share this because it's so beautiful. Change takes us from the past, tucks us firmly into the present, and holds us perched into the future. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Isn't she, Dr. Is that a direct quote from you, or is that something that you've read somewhere? I have a feeling it's you. That's I love that quote. I will probably be quoting you in the future because that is just beautifully said. Kelly, I see your heart this morning, and I'm glad you were able to spend this time with us. Says I was a little sad because my mom was spending some time with me for a couple of months, and she will sit with me and listen to you talk because I have my phone on speaker. It's been tough the last few days. I'm glad I got a chance to catch you this morning so I can help change my mindset. I am so glad that you are able to be with us today and whenever you can join us, and understand that your mindset is already changing. It's changing through the actions that you're taking. And when you wish you had responded a little bit differently than what you did, just be grateful that you even have that realization now. And that is something that you're focused on. What we focus on, we bring about. So the change that you're looking for is already in process. And as you continue to move through, you'll start to see those crops sprout up, and you'll see more and more of the change that you've been seeking actually come into reality. And in the meantime, we will be lifting you up in prayer, and we will be sending you positive thoughts. And whenever you can, if you can't join, everything's recorded, so you can catch it whenever it works for you. But just know that we're glad that you're here and that we're sending you the best that we have as you work your way through whatever it is that you have going on. But the mindset is already changing. Dr. Marcia said, so right, Brian. Positivity is the tonic of hope. It is a mind, body, and spirit in feeling. Each needs each other to transition into the desired outcome fueled by positivity. Absolutely. And she also said, make that transition from positivity to negativity. Yes. And she said, yes, it is. All of them are. And I think to that, she's responding to my question as to was that her quote? She's an amazing mind. And the way you put those thoughts together are always, they resonate so well with me. Conchita said, that is indeed beautiful, Dr. Marcia. So thank you for sharing. I'm so glad to have you back with us as well, Dr. Marcia. I am going to do my best to make sure I haven't missed anyone, to get us through the actionable steps. How do you go about being intentional, being present, being now focused as you're going through life's transitions? The first one is to be present, to focus on what's going on right here, right now, and put your energy into that. If we spend too much time focused on what might be in the future, we end up becoming anxious and fearful and creating some difficulties emotionally to deal with that aren't even real yet. So bring yourself back. Yes, you want to have a wonderful future, but in order to have that, it begins with what you do right now. So stay here. Live where life is happening. Life is happening right now. So focus yourself and do the best that you can in this present moment, and the future will take care of itself. And it will take care of itself in ways beyond your imagination if you're doing the right things right now. The past is where your lessons are. So you don't want to live there either. You want to bring those lessons forward, use them to inform you so that you make good decisions, and then you move forward. Our daily routines are important. What in your routine is serving you well and helping you move towards the life that you want to have? What are the habits, the mindset, the activities, the people, the things that you're doing that have really become weeds in your life? They're choking out your dreams. They're not giving you the opportunity to create the life that you say you want. So take a look at your daily routine. The mornings are important. That's where we can set that mindset for the entire day. Denise talked about playing a particular song. I have songs that I play. I begin my day with gratitude, and then I get with you guys. All of that is a part of my daily routine, and it helps me to be in the right mindset to deal with whatever is coming my way. If I'm already, in a bad space, I'm not going to be able to handle the stress that comes. So, getting your day off to a good start and building a routine that supports the life that you desire is important. And it's something that you want to focus on and be intentional about. And then you want to take mindful actions. There's a difference between reacting and responding. When we react, it's an emotional thing. When we respond, we can respond with all of our senses. We can take that space that Denise talked about. We can connect with our creator. We can make sure that we are going to respond in the best possible way and get the best out of the situation instead of making it worse. So mindful action or inaction is better than just being a bull in a china shop. Taking that space, doing nothing for a moment, and taking that space to center yourself and decide what's the best thing to do so that you can take mindful action is so much better than just lashing out and being reactionary. So make sure that those actions are aligned with what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And then reflect and adjust. Having those reflection periods throughout the day, throughout your week, throughout your month helps you to stay on targets, helps you to stay focused so that you are taking mindful, intentional actions and you are not just going through the motions. So those are our task actionable steps for the day. My brain is fading, guys. Those are our actionable steps for today. Those of you that are in the SOAR Collective, we'll get those documented for you with a little bit more text. And those are out. You don't have to worry about taking notes because we'll actually share them with you. The rest of you guys, I hope that you were taking notes. I am going to end quickly because I am not feeling well and I am sliding downhill. So I do want to remind you that we have our vision board party coming up on the 22nd at 2 p.m., which is a Saturday. It lasts for a couple of hours. We do a goal setting workshop and help you guys get really clear about the areas of your life you want to work on and then set those good, clear goals. And then the rest of the time is spent actually creating that vision board. So with that, I am not gonna I'm not gonna close the way I usually do because I've got nothing left in the till. I need to go lay down and get this morning restarted when I'm feeling a little bit better. So thank you guys for joining in. We will be back tomorrow at 7:15 a.m. Central for Thankful Thursday. I'm grateful for each and every one of y'all, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.